Now in our first story, former GFA President Kwesi Nyantakyi has been slapped with 3 charges, including fraud. A former member of the GFA's Executive Committee, Abdullah Al-Hassan, also faces 2 charges, namely conspiracy to commit fraud and fraud. Principal State Attorney Victoria Esiedwa on Wednesday told an Accra High Court that the 2 individuals executed a memorandum of understanding on behalf of a non-existent company claiming to be attracting sponsorship for the Ghana Premier League. Court correspondent Joseph Akable has details.
The charges leveled against Mr. Nyantakyi includes conspiracy to commit fraud and corruption by a public officer. He pleaded not guilty to the charges against him. Same with Mr. Abdullah Al-Hassan, who has been slapped with the charge of conspiracy to commit fraud and fraud. Their lawyers made an application for bail shortly after the state had presented the facts of the case. The facts indicate that Mr. Nyantakyi and his colleague executed a memorandum of understanding on behalf of a non-existent company that was supposed to be used as a vehicle to ensure that sponsorship comes in for the Ghana Football Association. That money, we are told, was to be channeled through a savings and loans company, Fountain Savings and Loan Company, which belongs to the former GFA president. Again, prosecution makes the point that Mr. Nyantakyi demanded money from the Tiger Eye investigative team, an amount of $12 million to be used to pay top government officials, including the president and the vice president. His lawyers made an application for bail. They said that Mr. Nyantakyi will show up for court anytime he is needed. His lawyers have been speaking to JoyNews, and they say that they are unhappy about the conditions of the bail that were set by the court, an amount of 1 million cedis with 3 sureties. You can listen to Charles Posen, who is a member of the legal team. So cut it.
No, basically these are charges. Our clients have pleaded not guilty to those charges, so the basis is that it is our view that these are not charges that can be proven by the state.
Your colleague was making a point in the courtroom relating to the fact that what is said to have happened amounted to inducement, and he did not demand any money from anyone. What exactly was he seeking to drive at?
So basically, it's like you are on your own and somebody suddenly appears and say that I want you to help me do ABC, this is your reward. Subsequently, you turn around and say that you have committed an offense. And such things I don't think that are permissible under the law, and that you cannot induce somebody to commit an offense and turn around and say the fellow is guilty of that offense. So basically that's what he sought to do in the application for bail.
Satisfied with the bail conditions that have been fixed?
Basically, yes, they are going to meet the bail condition, except that we think that the kind of offense and the kind of amount they say they are involved, you ought not to give such a bail, lengthy bail term, let me put it this way, condition. But I believe that as the court has a discretion to exercise, so they've exercised the discretion. Our duty is to make sure that our clients meet the bail condition for now.
The case has been adjourned to March 25 for the case management conference. Reporting for JoyNews on the Law Court Complex, my name is Joseph Akable.
Away from that story, health authorities in the Ashanti region have allayed fears a Chinese national in self-isolation in Kumasi on return from his country could pose a public risk of coronavirus infection. Outgoing Regional Deputy Director for Clinical Care rather emphasizes it is the best measure to protect the public. Dr. Fred Adumako Boateng rather wants Ghanaians to observe good hygiene to complement efforts of authorities to prevent an outbreak or manage it if it should happen. Ohiming Teria has more.
Dr. Adumako Boateng points out health workers will be acting.
Meanwhile, Health Minister Kweku Ajibaimenu is in Parliament briefing MPs on what is being done to keep Ghana safe from coronavirus. Parliamentary correspondent Joseph Akable joins us via Skype from the gallery with details. Now, it's Joseph Opoku Gakpo, rather, pardon me. Joseph, has the Health Minister arrived? What is the conversation currently going on the coronavirus? Unfortunately, we lost Joseph Opoku Gakpo there. We'll bring him back when we establish contact with him. Now, 4 food vendors in Accra will have to answer in court why they do not produce the Accra Metropolitan Assembly's health certificates, which permits them to handle food meant for public consumption. The women who operate in a highly unhygienic area include a fishmonger who told the Joy Clean Ghana campaign team her certificate was with her dead son. JoyNews' PhD Nane Alsafo was at Chemuna with the team and brings you more in the following report.
The sound of fish sizzling in hot oil. That's fried fish in the making, popularly known as kinan in Ghana or chinam in Akan. It has a distinct taste. A made in Ghana special, it is savored with kenke, banku, and a host of popular extras. It's a fine addition to any meal. Unfortunately, as all foods here, a growing number of those making them or selling have taken hygiene for granted. The Joy Clean Ghana team visited Chimwena, a locale close to the Kole Lagoon, where a number of food vendors work. The water used to wash fish is an unhealthy red color, only bested by the swarm of flies patrolling the pan.
Yabaha 1, Yabaha 2. Second time I buy more asthmatic, it is some never go good demuna mujane, Yankasa, and Yaba Betomo.
Environmental health officers from the AMA inquire for the old woman's health certificate. She replies, "It is with my son." Where, they ask. "He's dead," she retorts. When the team presses on, the vendor asks for mercy, saying the foods are not commercial, only for a funeral. The inspectors will have none of it.
I remember the last time we came here, the same number of people we saw here are the same numbers that are here frying the fish. So it's not for only household consumption, they do it for commercial, purposes here. So if you don't have it and you tell us I have it funeral for house, it's not here nor there. Okay, Mama?
4 of such vendors have been served notice to answer for their negligence in court.
On the spot, we are seeing like 4 or more. They've all escaped. So as of now, we will serve the letter according to the number we see here and others. When we put it there and others, whoever is part of it, and they fail to come, we know the time we'll come and get all of them. We will not tell them. We'll come and pick them with a bench warrant if they fail to comply.
Meanwhile, JoyNews and the AMA remain on the lookout as Ghanaians seek to enjoy more local flavors this Ghana month. Stay alive. Keep Ghana clean.
Let's go back to Parliament now, where Health Minister Kwekwaji Manu is briefing MPs on what is being done to keep Ghana safe from the coronavirus. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo is on that beat for us. He joins us via Skype. Joe, what has the Health Minister been saying?
A number of things. Before an emergency is activated and also to ensure and to see some of these the right process. He said the various training programs now, he said national health has set up a report directly to the help with the coordination. He said in the procurement of various and says when it comes to ensure the next quarantine is done. 100 bed is being put up and it will be better now. He says more than 5 have been procured and in his words, the government has with everything possible to keep Ghanaians and afford that the disease will come in, even if it does, avoid it done and then out of Ghana.
Thank you very much, Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, for bringing us the latest from Parliament. We move to other sectors. In the Aplau sector, Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority has intercepted a truck loaded with 600 bags of government-subsidized fertilizer allegedly being smuggled into neighboring Togo. The truck was spotted in the Akachi North District of the Volta region, attempting to use an unapproved route through Ave Atiglime to enter Togo.
Very tough time.
It's giving a tough time.
Because they are numerous and our men are few, with very few logistics. It's very difficult, and you can see the reaction of the indigents. when such arrests are made, they gang up and zero in on the officers. So they go through a lot. They take risk to effect some of these arrests. Because they are dedicated and committed to their work, we are always on the road and we do our best, despite all the constraints that we have.
So what are you going to do with these guys who happens to be smuggling these fertilizers out of the country?
We get in touch with the investigations department and if possible process them for court.
How soon are we going to see that?
Very, very soon.
Okay, what's your phone name again?
However, the suspect, John Paul, who claimed ownership of the bags of fertilizer, denied the items were being smuggled out of the country to be sold on the Togolese market.
Any names pertaining these are the people that we are to sell for. Only if the person brings his valid ID card, voters Ghanaian ID card. That very ID card is what we use to enter our dairy record.
So does it mean if I come with my ID card, then you can give me this?
We don't give out. The government has subsidized it.
Yes, I'll buy
so
it.
The minimum price that we have to sell it.
So if I come without being a farmer, you will still sell it to me.
How will I know you are not a farmer?
That's why I'm asking you. That the Agric Ministry has a list of farmers who are around the country.
Is it the very year, this very 2020, that initiative has been brought, or it's over previous years?
The Agric Ministry has a list of farmers in every district. They know the number of farmers in every district.
So in your district, can you give me some names that
I don't work with them.
He spoke on camera. Okay. I'm not challenging them over anything. Okay. Now I wanted to ask, are they arresting us because per the law, or they are arresting us based on where they found us, where they've seen us? If where they've seen us, then they are wrong. We didn't even, as he was saying that Togo police have to waste our time that they will get there. To be frank, we was on course. We were heading towards my warehouse. Let's be sincere with ourselves.
Has the DC locked up your warehouse?
When I went with them to show them the first consignment, we found out that they've locked it with another key, another lock.
By who?
Which they called the district office to find out who locked it. And it is being confirmed to them that it's them that locked it.
But you can confirm.
No, I wasn't there. I was with them when the incident happened.
It's your warehouse.
I was with them.
You didn't have security men?
No.
Now, work has stalled on the Ejisu-Donaso Bridge Project as thieves steal controller boards, injectors and pumps of 3 excavators. 3 bridges linking Ejisu to Donaso and others have broken down for over 2 years. Motorists and commuters have had to truncate their journey on one side of the collapsed bridges and continue in another vehicle or the other.
After persistent agitation by residents of communities in the enclave, reconstruction of the bridges began about a year ago. Work was scheduled to have been completed and the road reopened to traffic, but the disappearance of excavator parts means further delay. As police begin investigations into the incident, MPP youth in the area say they suspect sabotage. Organizer Henry Diabuate says they are working with the police to identify the perpetrators and bring them to book. It comes as police have picked up a security guard for questioning.
There were a whole lot of insults at the presidency, at the member of parliament, especially the member of parliament being at the road ministry. And presidency heard our voices, and then the road was given to a contractor. Kofi Job came to site, did everything he could. We now have just 3 days for him to finish filling the approaches and everything, only for us to hear that some bad nuts in the system have stolen some of the parts of the excavators they are using. It's very pathetic.
What are these parts? What are these parts?
Okay, I heard, since I'm not a technocrat myself, I heard parts like the control board and the pump. And everybody knows that these are the major parts of the excavator.
And how many of them?
3 excavators as we speak. And this has brought the work to a standstill. Police, we know there are some saboteurs. There are people who don't want the government to progress. There are people who always want the name of the member of parliament to be insulted. There are people who think the downfall of the member of parliament will help them progress. This wouldn't work. We are signing a word of caution to those people that the people of Ejoso constituency, we need the bridge badly. And for that matter, the perpetrators, they should put a stop to it. We are appealing to the contractor to come to our aid.
Now on Thursday, the first process towards the construction of the controversial National Cathedral will start. The groundbreaking ceremony will feature President Akufo-Addo and the Board of Trustees. Mama V. Osu-Abuaje had an interaction with the Secretary of the Board of Trustees, Reverend Victor Kusi Boateng. She first asked him what exactly will happen on the 5th of March, which is Thursday.
We are going to witness the groundbreaking and the laying on the foundation stone by His Excellency the President of the Republic and a couple of Ghanaian Christian bodies and a couple of dignitaries. Officially, the building of the National Cathedral is about starting, and it starts from tomorrow.
Okay. Are we down with demolition exercises, pulling down of structures?
We have a few diplomatic things to go through. 2 buildings are here that we are dealing with, but all protocols have been responded to. So in a month, every single building sitting on this plot of land for the cathedral will be gone.
So for those structures still standing, what's been the issues?
Oh, it's a few issues. One is the passport office that has been relocated, and one is the Malian embassy that was, sitting down for nothing. But because it has diplomatic implications, we are following due diligence, which of course we have. So very soon we'll be over and the 2 buildings will go down.
In my introduction, I did indicate the president's 100,000 Ghana cedis commitment, and I'm not sure if we know if the board has received this monies yet. So have you received it?
Sure, we've received the president's money, and not just the president's money. We've done a fundraising here in Accra. We did one in the United States of America in Washington, D.C. A few weeks ago, we did one in Kumasi. So a lot of people are expressing their concerns and giving the best that they can, because the cathedral will surely be built.
Okay, so how much money have we raised so far?
We have raised a couple of monies, but because it has to go through the auditing processes before they come out to be well authenticated, I wouldn't want to say something that is different when the auditing comes out. But we are raising money, and that is why we are able to start the project, God willing, tomorrow.
Okay.
I miss serving my party and my country. That's according to former General Secretary of the NPP, Kwabena J. who was suspended in the lead-up to the 2016 elections for allegedly sabotaging the then NPP presidential candidate, Nana Akufo-Addo. Speaking on PM Express, Kwabena J. told Evans Mensah that he's hoping to come back fully into politics, but is traumatized that the 2 major political parties have allowed political discourse to degenerate.
I miss serving my party. I miss serving my country. I mean, that's for a fact, and because I think I can make a contribution. I see a lot of things happen that I think can be improved and should be improved. This country is a lovely country. I've traveled far and wide. The work I do and the things that has taken me around the world. And Ghana is one of the most livable places you can ever be. And so when I see the degeneration of politics, what I worry now, and I said it when I was General Secretary, if you remember the statement I read when the NDC were having their Congress in Kumasi. And I said it.
That must have been 2015?
2014. And I said to look, these are the two major parties in the country. And for the next few years, maybe, it's likely we may be changing places. The way we treat ourselves, the way we respect ourselves is very important. I'm traumatized as how we have allowed political discourse to degenerate. We think that when you sit on television and radio and insult and be very venomous and disrespectful, that makes you a politician.
So you were hoping to come back into full-time politics?
Of course. I'm too young to leave it.
Kwabena Japan, meanwhile, says his relationship with President Akufo-Addo is still intact despite the controversies that characterized his suspension.
I had a good relationship with him. He's been like a senior brother to me for many years. I still see him since he's been president. I went to him personally to go and congratulate him at home. I've visited him a number of occasions. Even this year, he calls once in a while.
He does?
Oh, yes.
I don't believe it.
You don't?
I lived through the time that you were going through the challenges. I don't think that was said about you, that you were conspiring against him. You wanted Agenda 2020.
I think we all know. I don't want to get into that. Sometimes I don't want to dignify these things because everybody knows what I've done for this party and where my heart
But you don't think you have to address it because, you see...
Well, the right time will come for us to address it.
But that's what I'm saying. I was surprised. I was surprised that he calls you.
But I call him too. I go to him.
Oh, you do so do?
Yes.
You're so pals.
Yes. I mean, there's...
So why do you think there's this public image that the two of you are on terrible terms?
No. If I want to see the president, I call him sometimes at night and I'll drive to him. And we'll have a little chat, We've been friends for many years. We were friends before politics, mind you.
Away from Kwabena Japan, at least degraded Galamsey lands will take over 20 years to restore soil facility, according to the Forest Research Institute of Ghana. Now, they say it will take the country over 20 years to restore fertility to land degraded through illegal mining. A senior research scientist, Akwesiedu Jemfi, says there are deposits of heavy metals in soils of land destroyed in the mining areas. He spoke on Love in the Morning on Love FM.
Mr. Jemfi shares some findings from his work in illegal mining areas.
We picked soil samples from degraded mined areas at BBN and Atiwa, and we realized that those soils were contaminated with heavy metals like arsenic, cadmium, lead, mercury, and nickel, at least from our own research.
And what's the level of contamination?
Well, the level was ranging between, let me say, 1 and 15 megagram per kilogram. In other areas where it is heavily contaminated, you could get values over 1,000, but these ones were very low, between 3-15 megagram per kilogram.
Already, farmers around Etiwa are feeling the pinch of negative effect of contamination as cassava will not grow properly in such soil. Mr. Jemfi says trees to absorb the metals can be locally sourced for the project.
We were doing soil sampling, and then in our conversation with some of the farmers there, they attested to the fact that previously those lands were producing cassava, planted with cassava. But these days, there aren't cassavas on those lands. And even those portions that you are able to harvest cassava, when you boil the cassava, it's very, very hard. You cannot consume it. And that is a result of the soil losing its fertility. And so the land is not productive enough to yield enough product. Obviously, you would want to plant some of the nitrogen-fixing plants, such as Leucaena leucophylla. And then from our recent research, where we use some of our indigenous species, I mentioned that, in fact, from our preliminary results, we found that fast-growing species like Terminalia superba, Nuclear Dideroca Milicia excelsa had very good potential for absorbing cadmium and lead and other metals.
Experts warn of imminent food security challenges if steps are not taken to decisively deal with the situation. Meanwhile, the Building and Road Research Institute has made 3 proposals to government in the last 6 years on the subject. Daniel Asensu Jembibi is director.
You know, we are the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology. So if you want to take anything to government, it goes through our head office, that is the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, then it goes to the ministry, then that is where policy is supposed to take effect. But what it entailed was to get an area and tell policymakers that, look, this is the extent of degradation. This is what we are seeing, and these are the things that we want to do. Fill up the land, plant the trees, take out the heavy metals, so that at least whilst you are doing, this is about, it's been 2-3 proposals lasting about 6 years. So
6 years, you've written about 3 proposals?
Yes.
And in all the proposals you've written, nothing has come out of it?
Nothing,
you haven't heard anything?
We haven't heard anything, but we know that certain things are going on that we see in our proposal. And for us, it's not a big deal if our proposal is being implemented, even without our. The important thing as scientists, we have to solve problems. It's not about us getting the resources to do it. So you go to Takwa, you find a few of those things, but if the originators of the proposals are involved, that would be good for us.
For JoyNews, Nana Ojima reporting.
Coming up in business, Telecom's Chamber responds to call by Ghana Health Service to help prevent coronavirus in Ghana. Emmanuel Abwajiriafi joins us in that segment.